Welcome back to Conversing over Drinks with your host, Cedric Turner. And today we have a returning guest, our first returning guest, I believe, in Daniel Adkins. And it is a new series that we're going to start. I shot this idea out to Daniel. He liked it. I liked it. We're going to do this until the wheels fall off, I guess. But it's going to be top 10 list. And we're starting off today with top 10 comedians. Now, before anybody gets their panties in a bunch, this is just our opinion. We're not basing it on any rankings or anything. It's just who we find funny. And these are our top 10 comedians of all time. Now, the rules of our top 10 is that we're going to play rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. And then we're just going to alternate 5 each. And if we have some stumbles or anything like that, it's all good. We'll just replace it with somebody. But first things first, Daniel, would you like to say anything to the audience?
I'd just like to thank you for inviting me back on here, man. This you got me into the podcasting. You got me into it, and I have my own podcast. So if your viewers enjoy hearing like behind the scenes of musicians, how their stories go, how it is for writing and touring and all the struggles, and then like the fun shit as well. Tune into my YouTube page too. It's Riffs and Relocation.
Riffs and Relocations. I'll have that in the tagline on YouTube when we post it, man. It's going to be on everything so you guys know where to catch Daniel's podcast at, because it is a fun podcast, especially if you're into music. And he's doing some stuff on TikTok too. I mean, he's blowing up on TikTok way more than I am. Like I'm hardly ever on there. I'm just proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. I see you working. Yeah, I see you working. I'm just like, hey man, keep going. I try to like as many as I can. But half the time I'm just on there to like see something, then I bounce off and go back to work.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. All the support is badass. I try to support you and everybody that, especially like the first, 5 people that super helped me out. You were the very first one, though. I appreciate it.
Hey man, no problem, man. My grandfather always said, "Pay it forward, man. Pay it forward, and it comes back." Oh man. So top 10 comedians. For me, this is my honorable mention. These are the guys that just did not make my top 5 that I was going to list these, but they're hilarious dudes. And we'll start off with somebody that is going to get a lot of people upset. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is an honorable mention. I really like Kevin a lot, but he's just, a lot of the stand-up seems to be repeated to me. And I'm like, hey, I get it, but like I need something new. Like either don't put out anything for a while or just continue to do movies, because he's hilarious. I never thought a pairing of Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson was going to be what I needed in life, but they are hilarious in movies together, and it's just fun to watch.
They are, man, and I started laughing because when you said that, I was going to either go with him or mine. I'll tell you who mine is in a second, but Kevin Hart he's funny, but he's starting to like cash in on the same shit over and over. Same with his movies. He's like almost like typecasted to the point where it's like I never liked this guy, or he was kind of funny, but the fans made him not so funny. It was the fucking get her done guy. Like he is funny, but
get her done. Talking about Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, he's
on my list. Larry's on my list.
Yeah.
Shit. Man. Like we grew, being a country boy, like we grew up watching the Blue Collar Comedy Tour and Larry the Cable Guy and God, is it Dan White? I want to say, I can't remember.
Ron White.
Yeah. And then
he's definitely the funniest.
Like get her done. Like
Jeff Foxworthy, they had the same shit, and he was funny. But Ron White is still funny as shit.
He's hilarious, dude.
Larry the Cable Guy, when he had that thing where he's talking about his wife having like the crotchless panties or like the hole cut out. He goes, "You want some of this?" He goes, "No, look what it did to your panties, man." Shit like that. That's funny as hell. But the fans ruined it. So I'm from West Virginia. You have like all these people driving around with "Get her done" stickers. And then, me being like a teenager when that came out, I would go to school, you'd hear people in the hallways, "Get her done," or you'd hear, "I'm Rick James, bitch." That was me. What the five fingers say to the face?
Oh man, that was good stuff. Like with Kevin, it just became like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the movie was their first Jumanji movie. And as someone who grew up watching Jumanji, I was very annoyed when they were like, "Hey, we're going to redo this." I was like, "Don't." There's some movies you don't touch. Like Jumanji was a great movie. Like it had a great story. It was fun to watch. But they did a great job with the first one. They did a great job with the first one, in my opinion. But when The Rock backhanded him and he flew into that wall, and he hit the wall and he hit the ground, he's like, "Damn." I was like, bro, like I'm in tears because it looked like The Rock barely moved his head. He just flew. I was like, golly, this is great, man. Oh, so Larry was on my honorable mention too. Chris Tucker's on my honorable mention. Chris Tucker is hilarious to me, but the funniest thing I've ever seen Chris do outside of movies was his stand-up on Def Comedy Jam when he talked about Michael Jackson being a pimp. And I was in tears. He was all like, "Can you imagine Michael being a pimp?" He's like, "So now Tito Dale, is that my hoe over there in the corner?" and he came out and he like backhanded her and he did the scream. He's like, "Oh!" Like I was in tears. Like him and Mike super close. Like he was in Rock My World. Like, oh man, like him and Mike are super close. It is. But he was on my honorable mention because I'm like, bro, I've watched his stand up recently, and I'm just like, I can't roll with it, Chris. But like, I like you in movies. It's cool, right. But I can't roll with the stand up.
My honorable mention, I think I'll go with Dane Cook. Dane Cook, yeah. So back when I was like 18, he kind of blew up. So that was like perfect timing to take his humor in. Dude was super funny. Everybody loved him and everything. And I don't know. I've gone back and watched it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. He's kind of like he's kind of egotistical. Even when you listen to him now, he talks. He props himself up there with Chappelle. I'm like, fuck no, dude. You ain't up there with Chappelle, man.
I was like, you ain't at that level. And like Dane had that movie run too, where he was like, Good Luck Chuck. Like Good Luck Chuck was one of my favorite movies for a while, but it wasn't really because of Dane. It was because Jessica Alba was just, oh my God, and they had her in like all kind of stuff in that movie. I was like, who the hell is this chick? Like, my young little mind, I'm like, hey yo, like, enough. Like I'm gonna list off mine just real quick. Hannibal Buress, Cat Williams, Steve Harvey.
Whoa, wow, wait. I didn't put Cat on mine either. Shit.
Yeah. Like he's honorable mention for me. Like I love Cat. I really do. But like some of his stand-up I just couldn't get with. Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Burr, Bill Cosby, because I respect the OG, but I can't put Pudding Pops on there. This one I know people are gonna like hate me for this one, especially in the Black community. But Chris Rock is an honorable mention for me. Like Chris Rock and Cat Williams are gonna give me a lot of hate, and I'm just like, I could never get into their stand up. Like I'm a different type of comedy type of person, so like it was hard for me to get into their stand up.
So with Chris Rock, he was going to make my list too, but I actually found someone as we were talking that I want to put in there. So he's going to be in my honorable mention too. But what I want to say with that too, though, I was old enough I shouldn't have been watching it, but the HBO specials, his first 2 or 3 or whatever in the 90s, Chris Rock were fucking hilarious. That shot him up there to the top 10 or whatever of like all comedy, but he's fallen off. Like his stand up, like we were all waiting for that stand up to come out after he took the smack from Will Smith. Yeah, it wasn't good, man. He didn't deliver.
I watched it live. They came to Oklahoma City. It was him, Chappelle, and another guy, and I went there just for Chappelle. and we didn't know Chris was going to be there. And Chris came out and did like a full set. And I was like, some of it was funny, but some of it I was like, bro, this ain't Chris. Like, this is different. But then Chappelle came out and just killed it. I was just like, bro, Chappelle's on another level. Then my last one is Shane Gillis. And it's just because Shane Gillis is just now starting. Shane Gillis is hilarious.
He's on my list, all right?
Like when he did that damn sketch talking about black players integrating football in the South. He was all like, he's like, we're not going to play with them boys. He's like, we're going to go out there and we're going to win with a whole bunch of white boys and we're going to show them how they play football. And then he came in the interview. He's like, you see them run by? It's like a player. And then they had that one where he was like, we're going to have black players on the team, but they're only going to get to play the second half. We're going to let the white boys start, and they're going to come up and they're going to play garbage time. And he's like, whoa, what a second half comeback. You see that good coaching? I was dying laughing. I was like, this dude is hilarious, man. And then have you heard
he blends that shit so well, too. It's like, I love what he's doing with talking about politics, too, because you kind of know where he leans on the fence, but you don't. Same thing with Bill Burr. They both do it because those are two hot topics, but they also talk about just funniest shit ever when it comes to politics. Making fun of like Trump, like when he talked about he would be the funniest to take a bullet, because he would be talking shit, like somebody be walking towards him, the shooter, he'd be like, "Sit down, you're gay," and he goes, then he would get shot and he would make a sound. He goes, "Ah," whatever.
But, like one of his stand-up jokes he had was talking about when white people quit being cool, and he was all like, he was like the coolest we ever were. He was like, yeah, say yeah. He's like, when we had that, he was all like, he's like, you can hear it. He's like, you can hear it disappearing. He was like, when Jackie Robinson integrated baseball, he's like, and Jackie Robinson steps onto the plate. He's like, he's a color boy that the Dodgers are trying out. He's like, and he's like, well, I guess we gotta figure out something new to do.
Love it, dude. So awesome.
He was talking about that dude. He was all like, he ran a 5. He's like, he ran a 4.940. He's the fastest man ever on the plate. So, it's like, man, no. Like Shane in a couple of years might crack my top 10 because dude is hilarious, man. He's just super young in the game. He has to put his work in, but he's hilarious.
He is, man. He's great.
So you said you had some more honorable mention?
I think that's it.
Okay.
As far as I can think of,
Well, let's do the old Japanese tradition and rock, paper, scissors for it.
All right.
Just go for it.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, you get to go first.
It was kind of laggy, I think.
It's all right.
But that's okay. Okay. Should I start from like my top? I feel like I'm going to name this and you're going to be like, fuck, man.
No, you just name whoever. Like, we're not putting them in any type of order. We're just going with the team.
Right.
Yeah.
George fucking Carlin.
George Carlin?
Carlin, yep.
Oh, man. I was like, you got to send me the spelling on that so I can get the spelling correct.
Are you going to post it up somewhere?
Yeah, well, when I edit the video, like I'm going to try to put all the 10 together.
Wait, so you don't know who George Carlin is?
No, I know who he is. I don't want to spell his last name wrong.
Oh, okay. It's like, holy shit. Yeah. Carlin, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe RLA or LEN, but I think it's RLIN.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like he was what he did with comedy is kind of like how Chappelle is transitioning, man. It's just like really thought out. Like you watch Chappelle's shit now and you just sitting there like he makes you think and he strings out a joke for a long time and then you at the end are like in stitches basically. Oh man, real quick, I do have one more fucking honorable mention. I'm sorry. It would be Norm Macdonald.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Norm did some great stuff on SNL, and then he like his stand-up was really good too. I loved him in Adam Sandler always keeping him in movies. That was just hilarious to me.
Yeah, he was in Dirty Work too. That was a funny.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So All right, so we got George. We got George on there, and you know who I'm going with, David Chappelle.
Yeah, you took mine. Next.
Dave Chappelle is arguably probably the greatest to do it. He's got to be the GOAT. If he's not the GOAT, he's on the Mount Rushmore. Like he just for what like I went back and watched so much of his stand up, and for what it's worth, it's still one of the funniest specials I've ever seen. Like, and it is just hilarious from the grape drink to the drug dealing baby to like I don't know how many times.
Liquor store, where the fuck you taking me?
Yeah, he's like I don't know how many times we said grape drink in high school. He's all like, I want that purple stuff. he's like that's drink. That's drink. He's like, I know what you eat. He's like, oh, he's like juice, motherfuckers. He's like, oh, you think I didn't know about juice, huh? And like the way you just switch his voices when he was talking, he was like, Todd, would you like some apple drink? Oh, would you like some apple juice? And he's like, what? I want some drink. He's like, I want some green drink. It's green. It's like Chappelle, like that special is one of the funniest specials I've ever seen, and it gets better and better when you watch it. I'm just like, man, this dude is ridiculous. And even on his new specials, like when he did the joke where he was like, he gave you the punchline, it did just blindsided you with the joke where he was all like, so I punched her in the pussy. And then he just went on his rant. And then he's like, at the end of it, he like finished it. He's like, I told you I'm a cold motherfucker, man. I was like, this dude is crazy, man. And then I love just like how grounded he is. He's a real person. He's a real man. Like like Kevin Hart tells great stories about him where he's just like, he's like, dude, he's like, Dave will just be out doing whatever. He's like, Dave be like, oh, I need money. And he'll be in some random city and he'll be like, hey, I'll do a show for you guys for this much because I just need this much to get by. And he's like, and he'll just pop up and do shows. Yeah. And he's like, Dave, man. He's like, it's just, he's like him and Chris. He's like, me and Chris came to a comedy spot and we were working on jokes. And he was like, Dave walked in the door. He's like, I went up first. Then Chris went, and he was like, and we're sitting in the back and we're thinking our sets are pretty good. He's like, Dave's was on stage for 2 minutes and me and Chris threw our entire sets in the trash. We're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, man. He's awesome. And like you said, he's humble. He lives in like just some little town in Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably has like a badass house and everything, but I've seemed like I've talked to somebody that lived near him. They're like, yeah, he's just like a normal dude. You see him at the store or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Like everybody there loves him, obviously.
I was like, it'd be great just to sit down and have a conversation with Dave Chappelle. That would be fantastic. Yeah, like the wisdom that he would speak would be crazy.
I love his. It's one of his jokes. He's talking about. It's like him and a buddy go out drinking, or he sets it up where you think they're both drinking, and he's just like, come on, man, here's the fucking keys, you drive. And he gets pulled over, and he goes, his friend is sweating bullets because a cop's coming up to check him and everything, but he's like, I don't really give a shit because I'm Dave Chappelle. And the guy ends up, he goes, he's thinking that since he's Dave Chappelle, the guy's not even going to get a breathalyzer or whatever. They were swerving and driving. And he goes, a few minutes go by, I look back, and he's out there going, whatever. He goes, shit. And sure enough, the guy gets thrown in there, but the cop is still being like real nice and pleasant. He goes, so we, Mr. Chappelle, we'd like to have your keys back. We're going to escort you home and give you a nice safe drive home. He goes, I'll take the keys. He goes, I'll let you blow for it. And he goes, I ain't sucking your dick. And he goes, no, your breathalyzer test. And he goes, I was surprised when I blow his ear. I didn't know that weed didn't show up in there. So the dude hadn't been drinking. He's just fucking high.
Good.
Yeah.
No, Chappelle's one of the greatest. And like to speak on his timelessness, it's just the Chappelle show, it never gets old. It never gets old. Like it, and
every skit's hilarious.
it's so funny. And like some of the skits where people don't give them enough credit, like the World Series of Dice skit is hilarious with Ash and Larry and Leonard Washington. And when he gets robbed, he's like, "You won't be, you have to shoot me."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay," and he like shot him. He's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "You was cold as ice." He's like, "Your mother ain't shit." Then he walks.
Yeah. One of my favorites. Everybody forgets this one. The one where they had it's like a real world, but there's only one white guy on it. Dude,
Mad Real World, like that was so funny. Yeah. Like the ending of it is the funniest to me. Like when they kick him out, and he's all like, God, what was his name? Holy crap, what was his name? I just watched this sketch the other day too. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
What the heck was his name?
Because he was like that guy was in some things, some shows and movies there for a minute. The one
I gotta find his name. Hey Siri, what was the white guy's name on Mad Real World Dave Chappelle sketch? Well, oh my gosh, I gotta figure out this guy's name. I want to say.
Talking about the skit or his skit name?
Yeah. No, his skit Chad. That's what it was.
Chad, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey Chad, I had sex with Katie too, man."
Yeah,
he's in confessions. He's like, "Katie had some big ass titties." I was dead, bro. And like when his dad got stabbed, he's like, "I've been stabbed, and I don't know what I did." He's like, "You came in the house with 5 wild ass niggas. That's what you did." He's like, "I'm bleeding."
Like when the girl started to visit, it started off with Charlie Murphy in the corner, and like the blanket just going like that, but his face, he's like. He's making like a grimace.
Just mean bugging on
and then it swaps to where the girl's on top of him, and that Chad is over there going.
He's over there crying. He's like, I watched. He's like, I watched Katie with Tyrone, and I got through it. He's like,
there's so many catchphrases from that entire show that I still use. Like the funniest one, for some reason, this one stuck with us. Back in the day, because obviously the Rick James and the Prince was funny, but the player haters ball when he's making fun of he makes fun of Charlie Murphy's jacket. He goes, "What can I say about your jacket that hasn't been said about Afghanistan? It looks bombed out and depleted." And we just for some reason remember that. That's like one of the slept on lines, and we say that shit all the time.
The player haters ball is my favorite sketch. Like I've had arguments with my friends about it for seems like decades now, but it is my favorite sketch, and it is because of just the hilarity of the roasting that they went through. Like when Ice-T was up there, and he's all. He's sitting there talking. He's like Ice-T. He's like he's like next nigga to say something, we'll get shot. And then when he's like telling everybody, and he goes to Buck Nasty, and he like says what Buck Nasty did, he's like, "Clap for me, bitch." And he goes to Beautiful, and like he's like, "Hit me 3 times, baby." He's like,
Dude, like, did you know that? I think if you had the disc, which I did, like as soon as those came out in stores, I bought them and watched them on PlayStation or whatever. But they didn't have commentary on those sections, I believe, that didn't say this. But like, I think the guy that played Beautiful, he was on one of these podcasts recently. He said that
Ronell.
The majority of that sketch was
all improv.
Ad-libbed. Improv,
It's all improv. Like he said, the one that they kept in that was the most improv is the funniest part, and that's when Dave was talking about Rosie O'Donnell. Or not Rosie O'Donnell. Who was it? God, who was it?
It's one where they actually left in where everybody cracked up. I can't remember.
Because it was the picture of some.
Yeah.
I think it was Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah. And he was like, she wears underwear with dick holes in them. And they all just broke. And
they left it in too. Like all
they were just, like you see Charlie Murphy just lose it, and like Donnell Rawlins is just falling over. Yeah. He's like, oh my God. Chappelle like turns around and walks off.
Yeah.
I was like, that was killing me. And then like the thing from that one that I say the most is Silky Johnson. Like the way he said it, he's like Silky Johnson. Like anybody with the last name Johnson, I would say Johnson like that. Like Joe Johnson, I was like Joe Johnston. It was hilarious, man. He was like, I hate you. He was like, I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know who you are, but I hate you fucking guts. He's like, I wish nothing but hate on all of you. He's like, and as I sip my drink, that I'm sure somebody spit in. He's like, I just want to say, I hate all you motherfuckers. Oh man, that sketch is hilarious.
Yeah, he was talking like I think he didn't know like the wardrobe setup or anything. He got that like Jerry curl thing, and he's like, I need like a spray bottle. So he just like came up with that.
Like that whole sketch was hilarious. And then before we go to your next comedian, the one thing from the Math Real World episode that I liked the most was him making fun of Antoine Fisher by coming up with his own movie. And he was like, story of Dave Chappelle, written by Dave Chappelle. And like they were going through his life, and he was a comedian, like he was a comedian still, but it was like he was like warming up like 8 Mile. He's like, where you from? He's all like, I come to do your job. Like jokes and spaghetti. I was like, man. Hell no. Like, that's one of the best ones. Then when he's with Bush, he's like, I've done it all. He's like, I am great. He's like, give me one. He's like, did I do that right? He's like, no. And then like we still do Black Bush when he was talking about the oil. And she was all like, what about people saying that you're just in there for oil? He's like, oil. I said, bitch, you cooking? He's like, oil. And he like not going right. He's like, right, he's all like, and then they were talking. He's like, see the way I landed that motherfucker. He was all like, when he was talking about the nations, he was like, I got 75 countries ready to go when I say it. They was like who? He's like, who the fuck said that? He's like, he was like, Stakeonia. He was just naming Outcast songs. He was like, they're bothering the Zulu Nation. He's like, Japan said they said it over PlayStations. He was just making up shit. And then like the funniest part of the whole Black Bush was at the end when he was talking about gay people, and he was like, gay people are trying to get married, folks. He's like, that's gross. He's like, think about it. He's like, 2 dudes at a barbecue. He's like, hey, bro, I like you too. Let's get married. He's like, and then 2 lesbians just blowing on each other's nipple balls, just.
Nipple
balls. He's like, that shit is gross. Oh, bro, we could do a whole episode on Chappelle Show. Yeah, that's great. We got to move on, man. Who's your next comedian?
Up next is Bill Burr, which you mentioned would be on
Bill Burr. I was like, he's my honorable mention, but I get it.
Let's see, what year was that? That's probably 2013 or 2014. I got to see him live. And I got to meet him and everything, like real quick. He played in our little hometown, my little hometown of Huntington, West Virginia. But dude, he was so funny that I think he was up there on the stage. There was no opener. He just came out at this real nice theater, and I think he just riffed.
Yeah,
you can tell he was just riffing because there was like some like air in between it. Like I was like sitting there for a while in the first maybe 30 minutes, like he's trying to get the feel of the crowd because Huntington, West Virginia is weird. It's like you hear things about West Virginia, and then he probably like had a day which that was his first 30 minutes was him just having like a day or two there and like making fun of it basically, but doing it in like a genius way. And West Virginia, like where I'm from, it surprises you. Like it's just not fucking it's fucking kind of like almost Detroit, Michigan-y. I don't know how to explain it. It's just small town though, small town vibes of that. But yeah, man, he had me laughing so hard. At one point, I actually started doing this and like sinking in my seat so nobody could see me doing this because I didn't want anybody to be like, hey, are you fucking okay? Because I wasn't okay. I was trying to catch my breath from laughing so hard. Because if you start laughing real hard, like you can't breathe. And he was just
hyperventilating.
Yeah. And everybody was in there just dying laughing. There wasn't anybody offended or just, there wasn't any joke that didn't land. It just progressively got harder and harder laughs. But,
Bill is hilarious. Like I love Bill, but like I said, he was hard. He was hard to put in that honorable mention, but like I figured you would say Bill. That's why I kind of put him there. I was like, I think he'd say Bill. Oh man, but yeah, Bill Burr is hilarious, dude. He's a good guy. My next is the Kang, Bernie Mac.
Dude, how did I fucking forget about Bernie Mac? Holy shit.
Bernie Mac, the Kang. Bernie Mac.
Milk and cookies. Milk and cookies.
Bernie Mac is God, he was so funny, dude. And like the story of like Kings of Comedy cracks me up because the movie Kings of Comedy that came out, that wasn't their original set. Like their original lineup was DL came out first, Bernie was second, Cedric was third, and Steve closed the show.
Right.
And they said that something happened at one show and they switched the order up and Bernie went third. Oh no, Bernie ended up going first. And they were like, nobody could do anything after Bernie went because Bernie had destroyed it. And they were like, and nobody else wanted to hear anything. They were just like, hey man, I'm done. And so they were like, hey, we got to move Bernie to last. And they said that was kind of what drew the rift between him and Steve. And I was like, bro, I don't care about none of that crap, dude. I was like, all I know is that when Bernie Mac hit the stage, I was like, I was in tears, bro. I was like, he's like, oh, look. He's like, this little gay ass boy come down the stairs. I'm like, what you doing? He's like, we'll get some milk and cookies. He's
milk and cookies.
Some milk and cookies. He's like, and then I'm gonna hear. He's like, then I told him to go upstairs. I'm gonna hear that little evil girl say, "Where the milk and cookies at?" He's like, Jim's down there. He was like,
Jim's down there.
He's like, I ain't never want to squirt up on the kids on there, man.
Dude, this show is so fucking good.
Like he started me with the I got in trouble so much for this, but he started me with the some of my bitch. Like I started saying that shit all the time. I'm like, you some of my bitch.
Yeah. I catch myself. I can't remember the title of the movie, but it's when he's talking to what's the guy's name? He's a comedian too. It's from The Next Friday where he's like, "What about the kids?" He's like, "Fuck them kids."
Oh man. Yeah, when he's talking to Mike Epps and he's out there on the resort, he's like, come on now. He's like, say bye to your kid. He said, say bye to your grandkids. Fuck them kids. Fuck the kids. Fuck the kids.
Fuck the kids. Dude, his response was perfect. Like if you had sitting there read the script, you would have never thought to have said, fuck the kids, like the way he did. That was fucking perfect. It made it even better.
We say that shit to this day. You being a teacher, I'll tell some of my buddies about some of the stuff the kids do, and that's their first response is a picture of Bernie saying, fuck them kids. So fuck them kids. That whole movie, Soul Man, was hilarious with him and Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. Because they had so many young comedians in there too. They had Affion Crockett in there as Lester. And when he was doing his rap, he was like, it's Lester, the court jet stud. He's like, what up, old nigga? I was like, hold up, bro. And then Bernie, when he was all like that, when he went to go get Samuel, and he was just like, He's like, I see the dog food in here, but he's like, I don't see no goddamn dog. He's like, the dog in the motherfucking room because you came in here. He know not to come out the fuck. He's like, you the dog, motherfucker. Yeah, man, Bernie. Man, like I got first introduced to Bernie, like before y'all even seen Kings of Comedy, I got introduced to Bernie on Def Comedy Jam and Friday. That was the first time I got to see Bernie. And I was like, dude, this dude is hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Even on Friday, he was so damn funny. He's like, what's going on? He's like, what's going on, Brother Craig? He's like, Sister Jones in there? He's like, good Lord Almighty. He's like, the Lord is my shepherd. He knows what I want. He's like, Miss Parker, Miss Parker. Hell no. It's like Bernie, crazy, man. I love Bernie to death, man. Yeah.
Friday movies are just gold.
Yeah.
Every second of it.
Bernie was taken too soon, man. Bernie was one of them. He was a good one. Oh man. All right, bro. Who you got next?
Up next, I hope you know this one, man. This is a good one. Also taken too soon. Mitch Hedberg.
I've heard of Mitch. I don't know much of his stuff. Like I've heard of him, I just don't know much of his stuff.
If I were to tell you his jokes, it wouldn't seem funny. But when you see this dude that looks like a young Ozzy Osbourne, he's a white guy. He's got straight long hair, and he wears colored shades. And I think the dude was from Minnesota, but yeah, he talked like this because he was a stoner, man. And like a joke, like what is it? He said, I was going to have my teeth whitened, but I said, fuck it, I'll get a tan instead. Just stupid jokes like that. Like he could do an hour or two of just stupid jokes that are just one-liners, and they were genius, man. And let's see, he was on that 70s show a little bit because he definitely had the look.
Who was he on that 70s show? I've seen every episode of that 70s show.
I believe he was. I know that he was a part of the, like the circle where they talk around, one another.
Was he Randy?
Huh?
Was he Randy? Did he play the character Randy, who came in later, like the last couple seasons, to replace Topher Grace?
I'm looking up IMDb right now. I should know this. I didn't really watch that 70s show too much, but
man, I watch like this is I watch shows like old shows to go to sleep. And I've started watching that 70s show again. So like I've been watching it for like the last week and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Diddy Parter goers in that show, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
Dude, I've been glued to that shit.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't paid any attention to it because we knew about Diddy in the early 2000s. Like so it's just like Kels. We knew about Kels. We knew about Diddy. Like it's just it's finally catching up to him.
Yeah. Shit.
Like I feel like you're talking about the Randy character though.
IMDb, you're failing me, dude.
What's his name again?
Like dead air. We can just go on, but we'll
let me
figure it
see.
out.
Because I'm on IMDb right now on my phone. What was his name again?
Okay. All right. See you there. Mitch Hedberg. Spelled Hedburg, I believe.
Okay, I got him. Oh, he played Frank. That's who he played.
And you found it quick.
Yeah. So he wasn't in the circle. He was. He ran the little.
Where they went to or something like that.
Yeah, the little restaurant that they went to. They played foosball and stuff and everything. Like he ran a concession stand because I just watched that episode with him where he was all like, he was talking to Hyde. And he was all like, order or get out. And he's all like, there's 4 people in here. He's like, I'm running a very fluid business and you are taking up seats. He's like, so order or get out. He's like, fine then, Frank. And he like walks out the door. He turns around and comes back and he's like, welcome to my establishment. He's like, what can I get you? Yeah, no, he's a funny dude. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Man.
He had a couple of CDs and everything. I used to own those too. But literally like an hour or two of just one-liners, which is hard as shit to do. But they were funny as fuck, man. And like I'm saying, like I could tell you the jokes, but it just doesn't do it justice because you gotta have to have his whole look and aura.
Yeah.
His voice and the way he looked made it just so much funnier.
That's good stuff. All right, so we're at 5 now. So mine be 6.
Shit.
I'm gonna go with this dude because this dude is close to my heart. My namesake, Cedric the Entertainer. Dude's stand-up was hilarious to me when I was younger. It's not as funny to me now as I get older. Right. But I respect him as a comedian in movies because he like every movie I see him in as a comedian, he's just hilarious. Like it's like he steals the show. Like if it's a comedic scene, he is hilarious in it. And then he's doing such a great job with this new show, The Neighborhood, and like he is hilarious on that show. And that show, like I never would have thought a show led by Cedric the Entertainer would get 8 seasons, but it's going into its 8th season. Nice. And it's like, that's crazy, especially on network television. Like that is wild. Like
I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check it out.
Oh man, it's a really good show. Like the dude from The New Girl, what's his name? He was like the main guy. If you've ever seen The New Girl, but he's the counterpart, and he's like the only white person. Like him and his wife are the only 2 white people to move into like a black neighborhood. Yeah, and it's hilarious. It's a funny show. They're both funny. They have really good chemistry with each other. And it's just, but Steve, like for the longest time ever, like Steve Harvey has the funniest joke to me probably of my entire childhood, and it was from the Kings of Comedy. When he's talking about Jamaicans. And he was like, bro, he's like, I love Jamaicans. He's like, Jamaicans always make a song out of something. He was like, they could just wake up in the morning. He's like, man, I want a sandwich. And he's like, and they make a song out of it. And then like a Jamaican beat dropped. And he's like, woke up this morning, I was hungry. Boom, 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 boom. Went through the cupboard, it was bad. Oh no. He's like, thought I'd make myself a sandwich. I had peanut butter, but no jam. No jam. Help me now. Peanut butter, no jam. I was as a kid, I'm like crying. I'm like, bruh. And then he had a spaceship joke. He's like, because he was talking about, he was like, if black people had spaceships, he's like, man, we turn them into Cadillacs. He's like, we'll be up there. No, come through. He's like, we have a big ass system on and shit. He's like, we still have roll down windows. This brilliant. He was like he had me crying as a kid, and like forever, Steve will be one of the Kangs to me. Like, and he's always on my list. He's always on my list, man.
Dude, hilarious, and from West Virginia.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And the name
he was out there too. He was. I say I'm from the city. Like, yeah. He was out in the fucking sticks, dude. That guy lived out. So did Randy Moss, by the way.
Oh yeah, like, but you could tell Randy when Randy talks. You know Randy.
Yeah, dude.
Like we went down and we got the ball, and I told Dante just throw the ball up. I'm gonna catch it, and I went up in there and I caught it. And, that's all it was. And I said, Moss, boy, I mossed you. Every time we did an interview, I was like, bro, shut your country ass up. I was like, God, I'm like, somebody take that mic away from Randy, dude. Somebody, it's like, God damn.
Yeah, man. Steve's kind of got a twang too, the way he talks. You can tell he's Southern for sure.
Are you talking about Sid?
No, Steve Harvey.
Oh, Steve Harvey. Yeah. Steve, like, in his younger days, you could really hear it. You can't hear it as much no more. been around city folk too much.
Yeah. Is it my
All
turn
right,
next?
yeah, who's the next one up?
Have you ever heard of Anthony Jeselnik?
Wait, I have. Yeah. Well, let me make sure I'm thinking about the same person because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have.
Controversial type jokes, man.
Anthony Jeselnik. Yep.
According to Wikipedia,
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Jeselnik
Yeah,
is
man.
an American comedian,
He,
writer, actor, and producer.
Out of Pittsburgh. Okay.
You'll
Yeah.
definitely be laughing, but he always throws in at least like one or two jokes where you're just like, God damn, that's fucked
But
up.
yeah, you probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny as shit. But the way you even if you know what type of shit that he's gonna say, he still like outthinks you, man. It's fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. Like there's one joke he was telling, like where his best friend's girlfriend is upset with him because she thinks that he called her a dirty word or whatever. Because like for some reason, like the boyfriend called the girlfriend a name, and she's confronting Anthony Jeselnik about it. He goes, "Did he call you a cunt?" And she goes, "No." He goes, "Then he didn't hear it from me." Yeah, it's just fucking brilliant shit like that.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to look him up. I'm gonna have to watch a few of his things. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check him out.
Definitely.
Oh man, so we are at 7. So I got 2 more. You got 1 more.
Okay.
With my next one, this is hard for me because I got 5, and to pick 2 of them is crazy.
I have 5 as well.
Yeah. I got Eddie, Richard, Red Fox, Robin Williams, Jamie Foxx, and Martin Lawrence.
I have Martin Lawrence too, dude. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Robin Williams. And Robin Williams just because like I kind of put Eddie and Richard on their own kind of it's like with Jordan. Like I don't bring up Jordan in a lot of discussions because I put him on his own pedestal.
Right.
Eddie and Richard are just so far ahead of everybody. Like I really don't like comparing them to anybody. Like only person I think that can even like touch their stratosphere is Dave. Like Eddie and Richard were just so ahead of their time.
If Dave wanted to. If you think about it that way, Dave just he's content with where he's at, which is awesome. He doesn't want to do shows or movies anymore. You know,
he didn't want to do them to begin with. Like he hasn't done a movie in so long, and like the one movie that he did do, he was in for like 3 minutes. It was like a day. It was like a day of filming.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Richard and Eddie are just on mountains of their own. Like they're both just they were great. But Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams was kind of my childhood because, believe it or not, my grandfather loved Robin Williams. And my grandfather was a black Southern man, Army vet, highway patrolman, retired dude, but he loved Robin Williams. And Robin Williams cracked him up. And I remember when Robin Williams started getting big, like super big, like after Good Will Hunting, and started doing like kid movies like Flubber and Jumanji and doing like
Downfire.
And then doing the genie on Aladdin.
Dude, what was that movie? Do you remember the movie where he looks the way he looks, obviously, but he's he's supposed to be a child? It's a funny movie too.
Yeah, I know what movie you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it. It's not. Yeah, but I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, and like I remember like my buddies telling me about it, and I'm sitting there like they're telling me about Robin Williams, and I'm like, Robin Williams? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, bro, that can't be the same dude I know because Robin Williams stuff, his stand-up is horrible. Like, he is
Yeah.
hilarious, but it is dirty as hell.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, that guy,
Right.
that guy's a kid icon now. Like, wait, like, hold
Yeah,
up.
man. He had a horrible coke problem like when he was younger,
Yeah,
and like his stand up back in the 70s and 80s, man, he was just like it's just like, oh,
yeah.
dude, just tweaking.
And I mean, dude is hilarious, but I'm just like, bro, like that dude, like that's the guy. Like, I'm like, he turned into that. But Jack,
Jack, that's it.
yeah. But yeah, and like when I say that's hard for me to say is because like for a long time, I like till this day, to be honest, I haven't watched anything of Robin Williams since he passed away because of how I feel about suicide. Like, I'm like, it's a very selfish act. I was like, especially somebody in that position, like all the money, all the fame in the world, like you can afford to go get help. Like, you can afford to go get help. You can afford to go talk to somebody about it. Like, to take your life is very selfish. But like, he was such a big part of my childhood. I'm just like, man, I can't disrespect what he's done. Like, Robin Williams was one of the best on the stage, movies. Like, I like, as much as I love Jumanji and Aladdin and Flubber, I loved Hook more than anything. Like, Hook was one of my favorite. I would watch Hook all the damn time. Like, Hook was amazing.
It's a really good movie.
It was such a good movie. Like, it was
like, I love the scene where he's not imagining yet, and then he finally starts to imagine that they're at the table of food, and they just have a food fight. And it's not real food because it's like so colorful and shit. But every time I watch that, I'm like, man, that looks like just like the kickest ass feast. I want to eat all that shit.
Yeah,
like ice cream and turkey legs and shit.
Like, we did Bangarang for so much. Bangarang! Like, that was, it did Rufio. Then when he came, it was like, it's Rufio. I was like, that was the best. But then I always tell my buddies, I'm like, bro, as much as I love that movie, Peter Pan was always the bad guy. Like, Peter Pan's the bad guy, dude. I was like, Captain Hook is the good guy. Like, Peter Pan's the bad guy, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, Peter Pan's just kidnapping these kids. It just like, I was like, Peter Pan is the bad guy in this situation.
He didn't hurt him. He actually liked him.
I was like, Captain Hook is trying to save these kids and let them grow up and be adults and have fulfilling lives. And like, Peter's like, nah, fuck that. Like, y'all gonna live here and be fucking kids forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So who's your last one?
Damn, dude. You mentioned year 5. I have 6 because as we were talking, I was mentioning I'm gonna tell you the names that I have left. And believe it or not, I'm gonna choose the last one because I think he is compared to what we're doing right now, he's different from all the other ones.
Yeah.
So I had Brian Regan, who works clean comedy, real funny. Louis C.K., which is controversial because of the shit that he's done, but dude was fucking hilarious, and I loved his show. I loved Louis, damn good. John Mulaney, who wrote for SNL. Martin Lawrence, we had talked about. Aziz Ansari.
Aziz is great, man.
Yeah, he's talking about his brother, man. God damn.
Yeah, and then
I was laughing so hard when I first watched that.
Him on Parks and Rec is hilarious too.
Yeah. My floors were hardwood and I had a couch, but I was laughing like this. Like I couldn't control it. That I fucking put a hole in my wall with the couch. And he was talking about his brother. But what I'll end on is the comedian I'll go with was Pablo Francisco.
Okay. Yeah, I know Pablo. Yeah.
Now, he's funny.
Yeah.
I used to like die laughing at stuff, but like now as I'm older, I'll watch it and I'm laughing, but I'm like concerned for him. Now that I'm a
Yeah.
father, I'm like, holy shit, dude, this guy is obviously tweaking on stage because he's like so animated.
Yeah.
It's
Like
crazy.
but he was funny. He is funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's very funny.
His impressions are spot on, man.
They really are. They really are. So like I said, with Eddie and Richard, like I put them in their own kind of stratosphere, so I'm not gonna put them on the list. My last is going to be Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
Like,
Foxx.
I don't think people understand how funny Jamie Foxx was or is. Like, his stand-ups, like I Might Need Security, is one of the best stand-ups ever. Like, just ever. Dude did everything. Like, he cracked jokes, he sang, he played the piano. Like, he was just he was fantastic. The Jamie Foxx show is one of the most underrated shows ever. Like, that show is funny from episode 1 to episode 100. Like, it is hilarious. Anything that he was in during the 90s, like Booty Call.
Oh my god, dude!
In Living Color.
I grew up watching him on Living Color, man. So I've been there right with him.
Any Given Sunday. Like, it was like he was supposed to be serious in Any Given Sunday, and he was still hilarious. It is like Jamie is one of one. Like, he is special. And then people still use a lot of his stuff from I Might Need Security, like the piano where it's like, fuck you. I was like, people still use that. Like, people have used that in their music. Like, that's like an intro to their music now. I was like, it's like Jamie is one of one. Dude is hilarious. And the Jamie Foxx show, like I said, is one of the most underrated shows. Like, in the Black community, it's not underrated. Like, we love it. Like, we put it up there. We put it up there with Martin and Fresh Prince, because, like, honestly, if you talk to a lot of hood Black people, they're gonna put it above Fresh Prince. They're gonna put Martin in the Jamie Foxx show.
I understand that.
it was hilarious, man. Like, Jamie was just always so funny. Like, he coming from In Living Color, like, everybody that came from In Living Color was hilarious, because even in the hood, the Wayans brothers might get hired in Fresh Prince.
Yeah, man.
Like,
I grew up watching that too.
It was like the physical comedy with Jamie and Marlon, like the way they use their bodies and stuff. Like, Jamie's like, every time he fainted when he saw a gun was just hilarious to me. Like, somebody plays, like, oh my God, he's got a gun. He just faint. He's like, oh Lord Jesus.
The Living Color character he played where he was a woman who's always like that, putting Vaseline on his lips.
Like, he was. Oh my God, Jamie is one of one. Man. He is hilarious, man. Okay, so man, that is the list. So you said Isaiah was your last.
No, Pablo Francisco is the last.
Pablo was your last. Yeah, okay. Okay, so our list is George Arnell. Is it Arnell or what I say? Is it Arnell?
Is that one of your picks you talking about?
No, it's one of yours. Your first one, George. Am I saying his
last
name?
Carlin.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Bernie Mac, Mitch. I forgot his last name.
Hedberg.
Yeah. Cedric the Entertainer, Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, Pablo, and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hilarious list. Like, I would watch all 10 of their stand-ups live. Like, that's a great list. That's a hilarious list. And once again, to everybody listening, the fans out there and everything, like, this is just our opinion. Like, I know a lot of you gonna be upset that Eddie ain't on there.
No, Jim Carrey.
Chris Rock ain't on there. Red Fox, Jeff Foxworthy. Jerry Seinfeld, like, it's just so Adam Sandler, like, there's so many great comedians, but this is just our opinion, and like, this is our opinion, and of course, I mean, you can tell by our cultures who was up there? Like my mine is very. I don't. Yeah, Robin Williams is the only white person that made my list.
Ooh, yeah, I only have one that's offsetting it. That's Pablo. He's Hispanic.
I was like,
I
yeah,
don't know what he's talked about that before. Mexican or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Robin, the only white boy to make my list. Everybody else was an honorable mention. And like for the people that are talking about Kat and Kevin Hart, like, man, like I give them their flowers, but they're just not on my list, man. Like I get it, they're hilarious. They're just not on my list. And then there's a lot of young comedians that we're not even talking about who are on the rise that are super funny. Like we talked about at the beginning with Shane Gillis. Yeah. He's hilarious and he's coming up. There's a guy I can never remember his name. He's always talking about his prison time and his jokes. And I can never remember his name. And dude is hilarious because it Mexican in Boots is one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard.
Mexican in Boots.
He's like, yeah, what is this man?
Yeah,
there it is.
My list. I have a list
Ali
of like 12
Sadiq.
people. Who?
Ali Sadiq. Mexican guy on Boots.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah. That like Ali is hilarious to me. Like he is just like when I watch his stuff, I'm crying laughing. Yeah. Dude is funny. So then DC Young Fly, you know, a lot of comedians that are on Wild and Out that have kind of branched out and started doing their own stuff. There's a lot of comedians on SNL that branched out and started doing their own stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of good comedy right now, which is super hard in society right now because everything you say is so offensive to somebody. Yeah. Like I remember when they tried to like cancel Dave for the transphobic jokes, and I'm like, bro, y'all got super offended about the transphobic jokes, but y'all didn't say nothing when I was like, he makes black jokes, he makes white jokes, he makes all kind of jokes. Y'all had no problem with that, but as soon as he said
everybody.
I was like, he makes fun of everybody. I was like, that's what a comedian does. I was like, Steve Carell said it best on The Office. There's no appropriate joke. Like, there's no appropriate joke. If it was an appropriate joke, it would not be a joke. It was. Yeah. I was like when he said that line, that had me thinking and laughing at the same time because Toby was like, that's just inappropriate. He's like, there's no appropriate joke, Toby. He's like, if it was appropriate, it wouldn't be a joke. And I was like,
it's true.
It makes sense. Like, so I was like, I don't know if anything that I said nicely that was hilarious. I've never been like, hey, you had a great fucking day. I was like, never said that.
Man. Mitch Hedberg shit is somehow appropriate. Like I'd like to see what you think about him, man. Like when we get done with this and you get a chance to watch it, let me know how you feel about his shit because
I'm gonna have to check him out.
Dude's fucking brilliant.
I'm gonna have to do it when I wake up though, because it's early morning for you. It's midnight for me. So
you going to bed? I just woke the fuck up.
Yeah, man. Oh man. So man, it's been great catching back up with you, man. Doing this episode. Next week we're gonna be doing an episode on sports movies, top 10 sports movies of all time. If it goes anything like our comedian top 10 went, it's gonna be me listing five black sports movies and Daniel listing Hoosiers 5 times.
Hoosiers. Yeah, man. White basketball. That's unbelievable.
Hoosiers 5 times. It's just, he's like, you know what? I just gotta go back to
Not a single slam dunk in the whole fucking movie. Am I right? What the fuck?
He's like, you know what? I know we're on number 7.
Yeah, nothing but 3-pointers.
There's just something about fucking Hoosiers that makes
Larry fucking Bird.
It makes me come back to it. Fucking Hoosiers.
Oh, man. Christ, dude. I forgot about that movie.
Oh man, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been your host, Seth Turner, Conversing Over Drinks with my guest, Daniel Adkins. Remember to check out his podcast, Riffs and Relocations. Man, I'm gonna have everything tagged on the YouTube channel, and be looking out on TikTok for the clips, because the clips will be coming as soon as I wake up and get everything done. Man, it's been great having fun with you, bro. We're gonna end that episode right there, man. Peace. I'm out.
Later, man. Thank you.